whatever a person does, at that moment he believes he is right. It's just unfortunate that what he thinks is right, society and the judge doesn't think is right. I have worked with quite a number of murderers and people who would have been murderers except for circumstance. And they all believe that at that moment what they were doing was right. The woman that murders her child believes that what she is doing is right. Now, it may be crazy, it may be deluded, it may be anything you want to call it, but she believes it is right. Now, this may not apply, obviously, to a mercenary killer, somebody who just kills people like the mafia, so we believe, for money. But at a deeper level, it might be the same, but I really can't say. But for most people who do things which are bad, sinful, naughty, evil, they believe that it's not when they do it. They may think about it afterwards that it is. They may even think beforehand that it is. But when they do it, they believe that it's right. That is the degree of their brain misprocessing, as I've talked about before, as a result of the uncorrected twisting of the head and the neck and the supports of the brain and the brain itself as a result of the difficult passage through the birth canal. If you ever doubt this, go into a prison and have a look at the faces of the hardened criminals. You'll see how distorted they tend to be. Lombroso, years ago, tried to draw pictures of the faces of criminals because he said there was such a thing as a criminal face. I think to an extent he was right, that criminals, by and large, people who spend their life constantly doing what we say is wrong and evil, but they don't believe that it is, their faces tend to be more distorted. Their dental architecture tends, not always of course, tends to be more distorted, which is an example of how twisted their structures are, therefore how twisted their thinking. And they can live in a state where they believe that hate is good and love is bad, that killing is good and loving is bad. So how can we judge them if what they're doing is what they believe is good, the same as we believe that hanging them is good? When there's, so what if we say there's no evil, there's just degrees of twist of the brain, twist of the brain thinking, which is what I call brain misprocessing, which causes them to do this, believing it is the right thing to do. Believing at the time that it's the right thing to do. I remember a very famous forensic, I did a lot of forensic psychiatry in the old days. I remember a very famous forensic psychiatrist who had to give up giving evidence when psychiatric evidence was being called in a murder trial to see whether the man was legally insane or not, because he came to the conclusion that they were all insane, because to believe that killing is good or right or justifiable is insane. Therefore they were all insane. So that was the end of his medico-legal career. But I believe he's right, completely right. Though I wouldn't use insane in the sense, because that's a legal term, but grossly distorted in their thinking, grossly distorted. Even believing, as I saw many times, that murder was right. Murder was right. Killing was right. Hate was right. That's how distorted they are. How distorted.